Invite everyone to stand for the pledge of the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is a quasi, a little different than we normally do. Normally on the workshops we don't, we're not so formal, but today, since we can't meet next week, I'm out of town next week, and we figured we'd do our regular meeting today. But it is going to be very informal when we get to the budgeting process. If there's any questions out in the audience, I'll be happy to take them. But first up, I'd like to ask for the approval of the minutes of March 6th.
So moved. Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, good, motion carries. Next, we got the Employee of the Quarter Award.
Absolutely.
I'd like to invite Miss Brenda Humphreys up for the Employee of the Quarter. And I humiliated once in a quarter. And we'll see if Lou or Katie can, maybe Katie can take a picture of us, and we'll get the guys right behind us. But Bree, you were nominated for the Employee of the Fourth Quarter, and thank you for all your hard work and energy that you put into helping us with everything that you do. But I also understand that we're going to talk about the charter here in a few minutes, and all the work that was done to reformat the charter. We're going to tell you all those accolades here in a second, but I'd like to present this to you, and I'd like for you to smile for the camera. And guys, are you behind smiling?
Yes.
Thank you. Got one more for you.
All right, very good.
All right. Thank you.
That makes your day, doesn't it?
And Lou, I'm going to go ahead and put you on to talk about a little bit about this reformatting.
Congratulations, Fred.
Congratulations. Yes, Mayor, Commissioners. Michelle took the initiative some time ago to reformat how to change the code in terms of the content, but in the form of the presentation. And to a single page, and I think you have a copy up there for you.
We do.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
And for everyone to know, that, our charter is formed like this, and if you ever open it up, I think you can see it.
Yeah, it's a
It has
two columns.
two columns.
Yeah, we changed it to a full page, and Michelle and I guess with Bree helped too, put an extensive amount of work into formatting this. And when we, on the approval of the board, we'll produce copies for distribution in the new format. So I would suggest, and I would ask the board to accept the way this is formatted in order for us to print and redistribute the code and charter.
I think it's a wonderful, wonderful change, and these are the things that we need to continue to try to better ourselves with as a town, and this is absolutely wonderful.
Much better presentation.
I would certainly support the change. Do you need a motion or anything, Lou?
I'd like a motion that they accept that format.
We have a motion to accept the reformatting format.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second?
Second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, all right. First, we got Mr. Mike Devine. Come on down. Tell us a little bit about what we got going on IT.
I try to keep the town up on phased replacement of equipment. Goes on like a 3 to 5 year replacement cycle for PCs. In the last couple of years, we've replaced approximately half of the PCs in the town. We currently have money in the budget for this fiscal year, and we're replacing servers, several of the servers that are outdated. And the biggest issue that we're encountering now is on January 14th of next year, Windows 7 is no longer supported by Microsoft. It's going to be Windows 10 going forward. So I have money in the proposed money budget for DPW, the town police department, and Parks and Rec to replace the remaining PCs.
So when we were going through the total budget amount throughout the, for all of our IT upgrades for this upcoming fiscal, if I'm correct in looking, it's $181,000.
That is for the town, yes.
That is for the town.
That's the town and Parks and Rec. And, yes.
So that was inclusive of the police departments also?
No.
It was not. This was just the town.
Correct.
Okay.
And that could be a high estimate for the accounting software, the 147 of this accounting software.
Yes.
That's a high-end estimate.
So backing up a little bit, the amount for the replacement of PCs and the other things, the SSL encryption, the software we use to encrypt HR emails is 34,000.
Yeah.
But the finance accounting system, IBM system, and that has reached the green bar printers, were end of life last fall. The server is no longer going to be supported as of this fall. So the number I got here is a high number. I was able to get numbers from the town of Northeast. It's attached to the last page, the actual bids that they got. The system that they put in cost $56,000. The high end was $147,000. I had to pick a number, so
Used a high one.
I used that number.
Understand. And if we move forward with all these upgrades, hoping that things don't change, we should be good for years to come.
On the finance, absolutely.
You know, another significant piece about the upgrade going from 7 to 10 has been difficult for a lot of people. What kind of training is going to be provided? Because the operational system is totally different from 7 to 10.
That's a very good question, sir. I'm willing to provide training. We have discussed it, and there are some people that will pick it up immediately, and there are others that we should have formal training sessions.
How does this fall in line with our community center as far as transferring all this over to the rec side? The PC and all that up to the recreation center, the community center that we're building?
There's nothing in here for that. So I made recommendations on what we needed there.
Right, and presumably what would be needed there would be then used over there, so.
Yes,
budget would
I'm
make
assuming they
sense.
could just take these PCs.
Well, I'm asking,
If there's
I guess
additional
what's the
needs
format?
or, what the final configuration of the place is. They just have 3 PCs here. They've got the 10 employees there, but they'll have to do something over there.
So basically, with the number of changes, you're going to do this in a group setting with everyone. You're not going to do you can't do this individually unless somebody here on staff knows how to do the 10 and can assist you with that, because that's not an easy task.
I would suggest group settings.
Okay.
Have a number of sessions for people who want to kind of really get into it.
Because it ain't easy.
It's a change.
It is.
It is a change, and some people find it easy. Others, it's,
It was a struggle going to Windows for me, and
I just mastered DOS.
there you go. There you go. Mike, there was, I think that we all kind of get where we have to go with this, and I know that you had mentioned to me when we were meeting with Steve, and this is a process, and we're moving the right direction to get the right product in. When we were during that discussion, I kind of brought up about I was at Rockville's town hall a couple months ago, and it was they were their town meeting each commissioner had an iPad set up in front of them. They also had screens on just about every wall so that the public during a presentation could see from any angle. You know, we're challenged here a little bit that when we do a presentation, it's only on that wall. And so I'd asked you to provide to us maybe some options here, and he actually did. I'm not sure if everyone got a copy of it, but I have a copy of it. And what I was trying to come up with was, is this a direction that we want to go as a board, or do we want to? My thought was if we had the PC up here, it could be loaded in with all of this paperwork prior to the meeting, and we could view it from here and turn the pages. I don't know if that's possible or not possible, but currently we get so much paperwork. Do we want to continue down the paper trail, or do we want to look at maybe stepping it up a little bit?
I would like to go with a technological change if it helps, number one, us for information as well as eliminating the paper.
How do you feel, Earl?
I'm sorry, sir.
No, I said I would like to see a technological change, and also it would allow for the elimination of paper as well.
Well, I'm whispering, I ain't gonna whisper. I would like to go that route, but I know that we had some talk of maybe trying to reorganize this room for other purposes. We had some talk about that. We didn't really go down the road too deep. Anybody remember that? And possibly making some changes like for the front, the offices, maybe the police officers taking certain areas. We talked about it. So before we start going into that, I love the idea. We don't want to invest into a room that we're not going to really utilize if we move forward to.
It's a very good point. So we're going to take.
Good point, though.
But also the type of technological item that is put here, would it be portable, would it be something set in stone?
I would think it would tend to be portable, but I'm looking at what I requested and what Mike had put up there. We talked about having iPads for everyone here. We would put 3 90-inch flat panel displays onto the wall. I guess we'd have to put one here behind us somehow, or one on each side. And I think in all the connections, but it was about a $37,000 estimated upgrade.
So basically, and you can either agree with me or disagree. Basically, what you're talking about is running a line to this desk, and then monitors hooked into the PC. Am I right or wrong?
You're right, always.
Oh, I like that.
The iPads would be wireless, but we had to wire the infrastructure.
Right.
So our audio-visual stack by Michelle there is antiquated. We probably need to upgrade the whole thing to hook the monitors up, get everything synced together, get it connected with the iPads and linked so that the data can be put into the system so that you can read it on the iPad. So it's a big project.
So the only thing we have to move is the iPads. And the warrants have to be wherever we else go to. Right? And the monitors. So anyway, yeah, I'm all for it.
Well, listen, we'll take a look and see how it fits into the budget, but I wanted to bring everyone kind of up to date that this is something that I think that we could consider. Mr. Lemon.
Number one, I like that idea very much. As an audience member, it would be a big help. Number two, you asked me to bring up this thing I mentioned in the last meeting, and I'll just run it by you. You may know this, but Google has an online training program that's available to train technicians, and maybe that would be helpful to you. And it's in the last minutes, but it's google.com/grow, And if you go to that website, it will lead you into these programs that they have, and that may be helpful to you.
Thank you very much, I'll look into that.
And the other thing is, I have Windows 10, and if I can learn it, nobody else is going to have any problems.
No, that's
Speak for yourself.
I've had it for almost 2 years now, and I still can't run it.
Yeah, you could. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Miss Mary McGall, come on down. We're going to talk a little bit about the 2020 budget with Miss Mary on the Parks and Rec side. So is there any high points you want to hit with us? Why don't you tell us?
So this is just my budget based on being here. I don't have anything in there for if we were to move into the neighborhood community center prior to.
So everything's based upon the way it currently exists?
Yeah, currently exists.
Well, I'll comment on that. We probably won't be moving in there until maybe the late summer of 2020. So actually, this budget will be expired before then. So that's why you don't have anything for this.
I don't know if that's, I kind of got the impression they may be starting sooner than later.
No, they're going to start, they're supposed to break ground in June.
Yeah,
But I
we've
don't
been
know
meeting
if they
with,
get it done, the whole
Yeah.
thing done in a year. I don't know.
yeah, they're talking sooner than that.
I'm sorry?
They're talking about starting sooner than June now.
This June. This
They're
coming
they're
June.
starting, they were, at our last meeting, they were talking about starting before June.
Who's that?
Oh, okay, that's
no.
even better.
Wickersham.
Okay.
So
I say we break some ground
I don't
after
know,
today.
Yeah, so I was kind of hoping we might be in before next summer.
So what date were they,
They said late April, May, beginning of May. And it could be a year. So I just, with that being said, I don't know whether you want me to talk about staffing right now or not.
I don't think we need to talk about staffing for that. I think what we would do is well, listen, go ahead. Tell us a little bit of what you're thinking.
So here's what, I don't want to be opening a new facility with 2 full-time employees and nobody else having any idea what's going on. We used to have 3 full-time employees in the department, and I would like to get back to that now, so that I have a year to train somebody prior to opening the building.
Okay.
So,
Is one person adequate? One additional?
no, not to run the building, but for now, yes. For this fiscal year, I believe.
and when you talk about having 3 people, what type of training specifically would they need?
So, I mean, it's right now, it's just myself and Jamie,
Right,
and I
right.
just want to get one additional person on board.
To know what your program is and expectations and
Yeah.
things like, oh, got it.
And then the other thing that's not in here, because it was just brought to before me, I've been asked about going in on a pilot program at Thompson Estates Elementary School for an after-school program. They're seeking some grant funding, but at this time that, they're looking at roughly about $13,000 cost to us to go in on this program, provide some staff for about 50 kids at the school for the next school year. So again, it's not in here because it was kind of just brought to my attention, but they'd like us to go in, that's the Cecil County government, Cecil County Parks and Rec. They're doing several schools, but one of them is Thompson Estates, and they would like us to assist with that program. But everything else is, my normal budget.
I didn't see anything out of line. I'm doing a quick run over of it again, but there was certainly nothing compared to, there's really no change.
Just a few million for neighborhood community center.
Well, that's correct.
And even though you're more than a year away, what do you think will be your operational time with that?
What time the facility would be open?
Open, close.
Um,
And in view of the fact that the mayor and I guess others, including myself, I remember I asked, there would be some programs for the community, so that might be extended beyond the normal day, and that's the reason why I asked. Basically, what time would you think we'd be starting and ending? Tentatively anyhow, so that could all
I was
change.
thinking, a few days a week, being open, 9 AM to 9 PM. I think a lot of our stuff's gonna happen later in the afternoon and the evenings, and I don't know whether it would be necessary for us to open at 9 o'clock in the morning if, everybody's at work and the kids are at school.
True.
And then, being open on Saturdays for a period of time. I don't think we should start out being open 7 days a week. I think we need to
Grow into that.
grow into that. And I don't think we need to be open from 5 AM to 10 PM. I want to be good use out of it, so I want to limit the hours to where people are actually going to show up. 8 to 4:30 is not going to be the hours of that facility because people aren't going to be there. And we're going to be in the evenings and the weekends.
We've got a Parks and Rec board now,
Yes.
and I know that you guys have been meeting probably more than you want to right now. But it's actually good, I think, to get some ideas as we're moving forward.
And I did ask them,
Is it been bringing value? Has the new board brought value to, is there ideas that's coming up, or good, bad, indifferent?
No, I really enjoy everybody. It's been nice.
Okay.
They had good ideas, and I did ask them to think about what they thought as far as hours, and just to see what their thoughts were.
Good.
They had some comments on the building.
Very good. Earl, you had a comment? Okay. Well, listen, yours was pretty easy. Thank you, Mary. Unless someone from the audience has any questions about, Mr. Lemon's got a question for Parks and Rec.
Hi.
Well, not really for you. Partly for you, partly over there. When we get down the road further, I think we need a pro forma operating budget, which I think will show a loss, but that's part of the deal. But I think we need to put that together as to the operating costs of the whole facility, which will be what you have here, plus the operation of the building, heat, so forth and so on. I think that's very important to do that so we know where we're going and can measure our performance against it.
I think we'll actually be able to start compiling that information here real soon.
Well, I say it may be too early now, we just want to bring it up as part of the conversation. Mary, you have a great opportunity there, and I wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. All right, Jean Minner, come on down. Jean with her 2020 operating capital budget for the Department of Planning. You know so well, I don't even have to look at this anymore. It's chips I gotta keep an eye on. I guess any highlights that you want to touch base on, or?
The budget should be very similar to previous years. I did bump up a little more of the training and dues and subscriptions. Commissioner Brumel had emailed me and asked me if there was something that Mary Jo was doing that I would be taking over. And Mary Jo had always encouraged me to become a MEDA member, Maryland Economic Development Association member, and I did last year. I think I should probably attend more of their conferences and meetings, so I've included a little more to cover those costs.
Fantastic.
So a little more economic development coming my way.
Well, I've continued to, I think I've said over the last X amount of years that the more training, the more conferences, the more trade shows that we can all go to collectively, I think it betters us. We kind of get, I know my regular job, I like to tell everyone, I sell duct tape. I'm a duct tape sales guy. And And, but the one thing that a value that I get is when I travel for my business, I get to learn a little bit about other aspects around me. But if I stayed at home just selling that one product, I'd never be able to see what else is out there. But
The education and the networking is
it
really
is
valuable.
So let's do a quick run through if we could. I know that the one additional cost that's kind of changed, we moved Object 13, which was professional services, into salaries. Just breezed through it. Nothing was out of the ordinary of dues and subscriptions, repairs, maintenance. Engineering was not an issue. I hope, of course, I kind of hope that the engineering number goes real high, because that means we're getting more action, right? So when that number is low, it means that we really don't have a lot going on. I like it when it's higher.
A lot of the engineering is reimbursed to us through the developer's fees and their payment of their fees that they have to pay for development purposes.
Gene, I don't see anything out of the ordinary. Everything looks fantastic. Any questions?
I went through it, like you, I'm in agreement.
Great. Just as an FYI, Monday, the bids are due for the Town Square ADA project.
This coming
This
Monday?
coming Monday, the bids are due. And following Friday, March 22nd, the bids are due for the Stonehouse window project.
I'm extremely excited about both those projects. One of the, Gene and I are meeting on Friday with Amy's sites she's with the,
Department of Housing and Community Development.
and we're going to, a couple things I want to take a look at is that project on the square, but maybe see how they can help with maybe expanding and changing or helping us restore that building a little bit more. Very good. Thank you, Gene.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
This is going quick today. All right, next up, oh, it's Chip. This might be a while. No, Chip does a fantastic job. So we've got in front of us Chip's 2020 budget, operating budget. Is there any highlights or anything that we need to know?
Other than the 3 pickup trucks and the bucket truck, I think it was about the same as last year.
I didn't see them in there.
Good try, Chip.
He tried to get a couple in.
I trimmed almost 700 out of several different areas. Other than that, it's pretty much the same.
You know, once again, I have to say that it's nice when, I almost feel like it's good when we're paying our attorneys more and we have more cases, because then there's more action. And so you kind of put a number out there that we're going to have 24 cases this year, but I hope that we have 124 cases. I know staff probably doesn't feel that way, but it means that we've got action being created.
Keeping us busy.
And John wants more cases. Look at it.
No, I'm just saying, it's been busy 5 years.
I know that last year, or I'd say this fiscal in particular, we put a little bit more, we've asked you to do a little bit more when it comes to we taking a tackle on the blighted properties like we did. I know that you were very instrumental in trying to put all the pieces together. And you and I had even spoke this morning. We were talking about, we met with Mr. Willis and his group about some of the things that we're doing. I think we got to continue to go down that road and take care of our town and get rid of some of these blighted properties like we have. I think that strategy that we did on that Hollingsworth house was fantastic. I know that there's a couple more that we're moving down that road. Once again, it's sometimes it's when you go out and acquire a property like that, some of the residents of the town doesn't feel it's the right way for us to do it, but I feel it is the right way to do it, and we go get it, we acquire it, we tear it down, we're gonna put it back up for sale, and then hopefully it's not a loser for the town, but even if it is, even if we lose a few dollars on it, I think that the well-being, the feel of the community, I think can get behind us a little bit.
Big improvement.
It is a big improvement.
And I think I told you, Ron Arches is going to be purchasing Whalen's mini storage from the guy who bought the tax sale. So I think he takes very good care of his property, so I think he's going to get that cleaned up, and I think that'll be a big asset down there.
I tell you, I'm glad Katie's here. I'm gonna come right out and say it. The George's Restaurant property, which we talk about all the time, that Cecil Bank had owned, did go to settlement. There's a new owner, and that property, with the town's help, any way that we can help, we're going to get that building demolished. We met with the group this morning, and our whole game plan is, as soon as we get that date, I want everyone from the town of Elkton, I want everyone on the west side of town, I want everyone that we can get there with a sledgehammer in their hand to show that we're really caring about the west part of the town. And I think that that could bring a lot of energy. It's going to show that we're going to take that part of town seriously, and I'm really excited about it. So if we can get that building down, nice vacant lot, we'll get that thing sold, and we'll get us a nice restaurant or a steakhouse or something good on that side of town that's going to change the whole dynamics of the west part of town. It will be a focal point for the community. And since he's sitting to the left of you, thank you, Mr. Willis, for your efforts. Thank you for all you do. Yes, Patty?
Just out of curiosity, because we've been hearing about George's for years now, and it's always, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Do you have any type of time frame on this?
I would say, I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but I think it could happen as quick as 2 weeks.
Demolition.
We gave the,
Give me a sledgehammer.
I haven't called Bruce Johnson back yet. He has to get someone a licensed to go in there and inspect for asbestos. But that shouldn't take too long. The health department sent me the form for it, and we'll get that taken care of.
the permit is, my understanding, the permit was included in when they did the.
Well, we have to make up a new one just to send to the health department to get for the record, but the fees were pretty much paid with the restaurant.
If asbestos is found, will that be a whole other process you're going to have
Yes.
to go through?
Yes.
That'll raise the cost, won't it?
We're gonna put it in trash bags, come on now. No.
Black trash bags.
There you go. It's coming down, that building's coming down. Chip, other than that, I think everything was right on line. Any questions from the board?
I'd just like to make a comment. You brought up a good point with the way the town's moving and how great everything's going. I'd like to commend John Downs and his group, the legal department, for all of what they do. I just put it on the record. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Chip, thank you.
Hold it. I agree with Rob. There has been a certain increase in blighted properties here. So, maybe there can be a plan, in the future for that. And lastly, I guess as your office with all the materials and documentation, how are you able to control that? Or is there something in sight that you can maintain that? Used to be in schools and things like that, you would have microfiche and be taking pictures of this to store it. I guess that's almost in any place, basically, but I guess all this information that you have certainly is important to the town and its future.
Yeah, all our building inspection records are on a server. That's all they saved by. We pay high fives to, we rent server space from them, and they monitor that, and all of our inspection records are saved on the computer. They're on the server. A lot of other things get scanned in, permits, pretty much everything we have in paper ends up getting scanned in.
So it's usually easily accessible to you when you need it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, at least for the last, we have some stuff that we started scanning in probably 15 years ago, but in the last 5 or so, it's on this other server, and it's real easy to get at.
That's great.
Anyone have anything for Chip? Chip, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir.
All right. I have nothing to report today. Charles?
I talked about the blighted property, so that would be mine.
I just want to remind everybody, if you see some potholes that we don't see, please call in the town, let them know, because I noticed I heard a couple people come to work telling me about some potholes, but you got a number they can call, and a person you can contact. So just remember to call in the potholes.
I did have one other comment, and like I said, I wasn't at the last meeting because of the commitment to Elkton High School, but I appreciate the comments that you all gave about Mary Jo. I guess if I was here, I'd be echoing the same. And I was telling Michelle the other day, you know, you'd walk in the door there, and Mary Jo would always be right there greeting you. But I think oftentimes, too, when we go to the conventions and different meetings, you know, you get there early, Mary Jo was already there, she has seats set up for all of us. You know, there's a lot of activities late at night, and you know, you have to stand in line and you got to get tickets. Mary Jo was all that person getting us to the seating that we have. She was so vital, and certainly certain things like that you don't miss. So let me give you those comments, and I miss her as well as everyone else.
Thank you, Charlie. Anyone have anything to say from the audience today? How about staff? Anyone have anything to say from staff today? Hearing none? Oh, Lou, you got something?
Yeah, I want to say thanks to Michelle and Bree for that formatting, because that, you know, I know it was a brief thing we discussed, but they put in a lot of effort and initiative on that. And I think that's a good thing that they did, in addition to all the other things. I'm sure other staff members do things too, but I just want to make sure they
I
pass that on.
Order to me.
I think that anyone's that ever fooled around with that double formatting, I know that when we made a change to the charter, it was a nightmare. And by going to this, the way it is today, it's going to be wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.